And let us go to the interview that we were scheduled to do here, if we can. Give me 1 second as I switch things around. The American dream in East Rutherford is now the center of a legal battle over Bergen County's longstanding blue laws, which restrict Sunday retail operations. And you have to go back a little bit and understand why. When things were being set up in that area, Rutherford, East Rutherford, the section of land where the stadium is has its own commission and sort of its own set of rules. They're allowed to sell things at the stadium on weekends, on Sundays. The question is, the land that is where the American dream is technically falls under that jurisdiction, but do the rules extend to that as well? The American dream says yes. We have that subset of rules. The rest of Rutherford, East Rutherford, says no. When they decided to allow additional strip malls to be built, the idea was to keep them shut Sundays so people can get to church and families could have family day. So therein lies the setup, okay? Joining us this morning to break it all down is Carl Gould, a global business authority and the founder of Seven Stage Advisors based in Butler, New Jersey. Good morning to you, Carl. Good to have you on.
Morning, Ken. This is quite a hot topic.
And so I kind of nail it with that, right? So the idea is where the American dream is. It falls within Bergen County, so you'd say, okay, there are Bergen County blue laws, but it falls in a subset, a piece of property that is a state set aside, right? That is like MetLife Stadium is on that, and don't they have their own rules within that set aside?
Yeah, and there are what's called a closed system. So while blue laws were set up for traffic and other religious purposes in the past, you can make the argument that the American Dream Mall does not necessarily fall under those same set of circumstances.
And that
So
is
it's a very
exactly
gray
where we
area.
are. Right. So we're
Yeah.
now arguing, does it technically fall under the MetLife jurisdiction or does it not? And I forget what the name of that jurisdiction is. There is a name for it. I should have prepped it. I'm sorry. So now at this point, is this in court right now? This is in the lawsuit, right?
There is a lawsuit that's been filed, and they are arguing the point now. I think what the bigger issue is going to become is that the American Dream Mall has been fraught with financial challenges from the beginning,
Hmm.
and what the American Dream Mall is going to say, they're going to say to some degree, they're going to say, look, blue laws, green laws, whatever color you want to give them, the survival of this property relies on us being able to conduct business on a major shopping day. We're not Chick-fil-A, and we need Sunday to survive. So I think that's what it's going to come down to in the end, is the survival of the property, which is not a foregone conclusion.
Right. I remember, this has been decades in the making. This went through three owners, I
Yeah.
believe, right? And I've been following it because
Yeah.
I worked as a news anchor in Manhattan and lived in New Jersey and literally passed it every day from when they broke ground to when they finally opened up with that awful rusted color they used to have that we all said, what the hell were they thinking with the paint, that red, rusty, nasty color? They finally
Oh,
changed it. And American
yeah.
Dream looks gorgeous. It really looks like a world-class destination now. Um, and I'm conflicted about this too. I get both sides. You can't listen. This is one of the largest malls in America. This is what, number two or three, I believe, in the United States. It brings in hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes to the state, to the county. Do you want to watch it go bankrupt, or do you want to modify the rules just for the mall? And that's really what it comes down to, because it's not a matter of you could have your cake and eat it too.
No, you can't. And what the bigger issue here, Ken, is that the question is, are we going to sacrifice the American Dream Mall to protect the smaller malls in other towns in Bergen County,
Mhm.
i.e. Paramus and others, that would have to remain closed? That's the bigger question. Because when the blue laws came into effect, it was mostly for religious and family reasons. And the culture of Bergen County has evolved over time. Now, my heart says, hey, we should have a family day. I mean, can't we just go shopping on a Monday? But the reality is that the purchase habits of the constituents of the county, they shop on Sunday. They
Right.
as much as the law is in place, we still go shopping on that day. And so, yes, it's in Bergen County, but it's on the outer fringe of Bergen County. It's not in it's not in Franklin Lakes.
Right.
It's not on one of the county roads. It's right up to New York City on a highly traveled highway anyway. So I think they're going to have a real issue here. This is going to in Bergen County, what and other counties, they have sent the enforcement of blue laws to the city level, and they have eased and relaxed blue laws over time throughout the county. And that's one of the challenges I think that the county's going to have in enforcing this, is because they've been relaxed, not lax, but relaxed in other areas.
Yeah, I'm with you. Look, I was a Catholic priest. You could still go to church, your 1 hour of church in the morning, and you have 23 hours of the day left. So look, reality is what it is. And it's not like in Judaism where
My
you
mom
have to
goes
honor the
Saturday at
Sabbath.
5, Ken.
Right, there
My
you
mom
go.
goes Saturday at 5.
That's the way to do it. God bless mom. There we go. I sent a little blessing through the TV. But
Yeah.
but the reality is you could still honor your Sabbath and go shopping. I mean, everywhere else in America is basically got done away with their blue laws. But I think the argument on the other side is when Rutherford allowed for an overexpansion, and they did allow for an overexpansion of
Yeah.
commercial properties, the deal at the time, so I did a little research on this. The deal at the time was as long as we have at least one day where everybody can get around, visit family, and the roads are not going to be bumper to bumper. And the problem is though, they are bumper to bumper. If we've already
Yeah.
gone there, they should have thought about that before they cut the deal 50 years ago. And it is what
Yeah.
it is now, like it or not. And is the reality is, do you want to watch a multi-billion-dollar project sit there and rot and lose hundreds of millions in revenue for what? To hold up an agreement from
Yeah.
50 years ago that's antiquated? Does that make sense?
It, Yeah, it does. And one of the things that's interesting and might help this argument on both sides is the traditional mall and the shopping experience from decades ago is no longer the same.
Right.
Malls are now live, work, play. They're not just shop. And so if you've been to the American Dream Mall, they've got water parks and they've got
Mhm.
theaters, and so people are taking their family day at a mall. And so for them to be able to go to certain stores and not certain stores when they're already there, that's the part where the law has to be modernized a bit. And we call it a mall, and we think of it like a traditional Willowbrook or shopping
Right.
mall. But the malls of today are not that. They're live, work, play. They're very much food and entertainment centers where people are going to spend their family days together. So I think I have a feeling the American Dream Mall is going to win on this one.
Hey, here's an option. I actually mentioned this a few years back and nobody took me up on it. You want to make everybody happy? Set aside a little section of the parking lot and build a series of a temple, a few interdenominational Catholic and Protestant churches, and a mosque.
There you
Now
go.
you have family day at the mall. Everything happens at the mall. You could park there for free and go do your religious service and then shop at the mall. Why not? And it's a
Yeah.
tax deduction for the mall to do that because it would be, religious set asides. How about that? And everyone looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, listen, in this era, because you have people coming back to faith in America, you don't be
Yeah.
surprised. Somebody will take me up on that.
And townships have been doing this for years when they allow industrial or commercial properties. They oftentimes require those developers to put in a park or a dog park or a kids area and things that would enrich the community. I love the idea. It's a common practice already, and it's something that could really enrich the community. So I'm all for it.
There you go. You and I copyright that right now. We need to get a cut of the money on it. It is amazing. We'll see. But I'm with you. I mean, there's just no way. People standing on their principle, it's gonna result in thousands of jobs lost, a giant corporation that does New Jersey proud. It's a beautiful, beautiful mall. I know they don't like to
Yeah,
call it a
stunning.
mall
Yeah.
because it's a destination center. It's stunning. You walk in, you think you're at a world class theme park. It's beautiful. Don't let this thing go to waste because of stubbornness. And that's really, it feels like the camps are set up, and they're like, you will do
Yeah.
it our way. Stop. Just stop. Okay. So I think
This
I'm with
this
you.
is an opportunity. Yeah. This is an opportunity for them to revisit the law and modernize the law rather than lose it altogether. Now's the time to get concessions. So now's the time for the county or the state to go to them and say, all right, we're going to allow it, or we're going to update it, but you have to do the following: put in the park, put in the bird sanctuary, put in the religious observant areas, put in the area for moms. This is the opportunity for them to get the concessions that they would need in order for this to work.
Amen. All right. The founder of Seven Stage Advisors and Butler Global Business Authority, Carl Gould, friend of the show. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's great to have you on. You explained it beautifully.
Have a great day, Ken.
You too.